All right, let's do this. Hello, fellow coaches of the Reddit Battle League. This is Joseph, your coach of the Minnesota Eon Twins, also known as Joe6 on Reddit. Throwback to some old Golden Sun names. Anyway, yeah, this is our sixth season now as a coach in the Reddit Battle League. It's been a wild ride, and we're looking forward to this new season, see where it brings us. This year, we're split into Aether and Skull. Shout out to Sun and Moon. Aether being the more competitive division based on past performance mostly, and Skull being less competitive, more fun. Who knows? We'll see how it all shakes out at the end of the year. We've already had some good fun battles in Aether, so shout out to Flounge and Albury for that one. But enough of that. Let's get into what actually happened. So, season 6, it's an even year. That means that Grape is back in the running, and you know who our week 1 opponent is going to be. It's the Carolina Pyroars and Mr. Sir Grape. It's tradition at this point, so it's just got to happen, and that's what it's going to be. So let's go through the team. In case you don't know, let's scroll down here. Shoutouts to Toth and Quinn, master modding, and getting the rosters up on the WordPress, so go check that out. They do a lot of work here. So we've got a nice bulky offense balanced team this season, built around Latias and Mega Venusaur. I didn't go too crazy into the new generation mons. I kind of throw back to some of my old favorites. So you know me, always drafting the same thing. That's what they like to say anyway, but I like to throw a wrench in, a little bit different curveball here and there. But yeah, you can see it. It's going to be pretty fun. Torn T, Metagross, I've always wanted to use. Never had them on my team. So it should be a good time. Brought back some old favorites, some recent favorites like Electros, and then some other things that I wanted to try from the lower tiers, such as Kangaskhan and Armaldo and Shiftry. So that's our roster. Nice and fat, pretty bulky. It's gotten good reviews from the few power rankings that have come up, so hopefully we're in for a good ride this season. It's going to be pretty competitive and a lot of fun. So let's go into now our first week matchup and the Carolina Pyroars. So we're going Mr. Sir Grape. His team, pretty interesting. He's got Magearna, which was, I think he was a first overall pick. I do believe so. One of the top 2 or so, because I was pick number 3. Yeah, he was first overall, because Flange was after him. So he picked up Magearna. This thing is a beast and a major threat. It's got a little bit of a low speed stat, sitting at 60, 65. But it makes up for it with some impressive typing of Steel Fairy and some amazing offenses and defenses. And ability Soul Heart is frightening, if that's what it is. Again, I might slip up on a couple of these things. So that's a pretty major thing to watch out for. You can just punch holes in teams pretty easily, but I've got a good amount of things to counter it with. The rest of his team, you can see here, Shaman is a little bit of a worry. Melodic's not too bad with a Venusaur, otherwise it can be kind of a bulky annoyance. Terrakion is a problem sometimes. It can hit with a lot of power, hit like a truck, as they like to say. Beyond that, he's got some kind of cool niche picks here with, I guess, Scyther, Piloswine, a lot of Eviolite users. Kind of interesting. I guess that makes sense why I brought Knockoff on one of my mons. Copycat, not Copycat, Purloin. No, not Purloin. Form Lipard, there we go. Nice Prankster Dark user. I had it one season. It was quite a bit of fun a couple times that I did bring it. It can be a little bit of a challenge, an issue, just because it's got Prankster and does stuff. But yeah, that's the team. Let's go into the Team Builder Showdown. As you can see, our teams are both a little bit bulky, so it's a longer match, and I'll try to get to it a little bit quicker if possible. So for week 1, we're bringing our Torn T, nice Regenerator Life Orb to hit a little bit harder. We're not going to be taking a lot of hits because the rest of our team is pretty well bulked up. This is to come in. He doesn't have anything faster than 108, I think, is his fastest with Terrakion. So we really were able to invest quite a bit in HP over speed. We kept the timid nature so we get a little bit more of that extra bulk, kind of make up for not having the assault vest on. And having Life Orb losing a little bit of health as we go. Regenerate helps negate that, as well as if we can keep rocks from going up through. I guess we don't have hazard control on this team, but maybe if we can get in the right situations, we can keep rocks from coming up early on in the match, especially if Buttercup comes into play early, which you will see. But yeah, this set really hits about everything on his team. Grass Knot for the melodic with Life Orb Regenerator. It should just about 2-hit KO. I think I calced it with a Hurricane plus Grass Knot. It does. So he doesn't really have a good option to switch in unless he knows that Heat Wave is coming, which is a possibility with Magearna there. Heat Wave hits Magearna. Hurricane hits everything hard. U-turn, just kind of get out of there if we need to. That's the set. Pretty easy. If you're watching this, you probably know about League Battles, so you know what these are all going for. Venusaur's extra bulky with a little bit of extra bulky. It's just naturally extra bulky. I didn't even add any bulk. Extra offensive, modest, max special attack, max HP with a little bit of extra dipped into speed so we can outspeed the melodic if we need to. I think melodic sits at base 81. Venusaur sits at base 80, as you can see, so that little bit of extra speed can help us get in and get a hit off with Giga Drain if it comes down to that. So it could come in handy, who knows. Hidden Power Fire, as you'll see in the battle, this isn't actually what I ended up with. That's my bad. But that's kind of what happens when you have to resort to power saves and you don't check your hidden powers. And yeah, I don't really know what happened. Anyway, Lady Red, our first round pick, backbone of the team, brought the Soul Dew since we legalized it, and I wanted to try it out. Between Psychic and Dragon Pulse, the only thing he has to resist that combo is Magearna, and I can wear it down. I've got plenty of other things on my team that can deal with Magearna. So just Psychic, Dragon Pulse, Calm Mind, Roost is really about all that I need. I'm not too worried about hazards. As you'll see, it turns out pretty good. I'm assuming that most people watching this video know at least the general outcome, but maybe I'll keep it a little bit in suspense. And then, yeah, that's that. Mostly speed and HP, so we can outspeed his whole team. Like I said, on base 110, his highest is 108, so unless he's scarfed something, I should be able to outrun anything on his team. And yeah, Calm Mind if we need to build up and actually get some hits off, and Soul Dew kind of acts as a pseudo-modest nature, which is kind of nice. A little extra modest, I suppose. Next up is Seismitoad. I don't have... Oh, I didn't even put the moveset in here. I don't have a nickname for this yet. Our moveset was the Drain Punch, Ice Punch, since we're Assault Vests, EQ, and Knock Off. So this is actually... I really enjoyed this set. I needed it to be kind of a defensively bulky thing. Take... some hits if need be, especially from the Terrakion. I take most of his attacks fairly well, especially if he is the Z Continental Crush. Yeah, Z Rock move. And at least resist it and hit back hard with a Drain Punch or Earthquake. Drain Punch, get the health back. Ice Punch to hit Shaman and Zapdos for super effective damage. Earthquake knockoff is just knockoff. Earthquake is Earthquake, so you should know that those are good moves. If you're watching this, Water Absorb helps us take on the melodic. Switch in on a Scald if we need to. Pick up some of that HP. Yeah, HP. And then the Assault Vest just gives us bulk in all areas, so we can take on kind of anything you want to throw at us. Even Magearna, Volt Switch, Flash Cannon. Take a couple of those hits if I need to. Next up, we have Gladys. Since I freed up a spot for Stealth Rocks on Gladys, I didn't need to run it on Seismitoad, so that's where the Assault Vest came in. Really all I need, Bullet Punch, then Headbutt EQ. It hits pretty much all of his team for at least neutral to super effective damage, so really nice coverage there. Just max HP, max attack. Adamant, Shuckaberry, just kind of it's a Reddit berry league, and what else? You got to have a team with a berry on it. No, it just lets us take a earthquake if we need to. We can potentially take out the Terrakion in this case, or someone who's carrying some random ground type move. I guess Shaman gets earth power, so maybe we could take one of those. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really excited to use Metagross. I've feared it in the past, and now it's on my side, so looking forward to it. Last up on this week's team is Kieran, the shiny Entei, shiny Adamant, because you need that to have extreme speed. I learned last season with Raikou and the whole Aura Sphere disaster, fiasco, not really disaster, turned out alright. Usually these things run Choice Band. I decided to run Charcoal, hit nice and hard, but allow me to switch up my moves if I need to. I've found it worked decently well in the past. Somebody will probably say that, it's suboptimal, but if it works, it works, right? At least that's how I like to play. So yeah, this guy was Adamant. So hit that up. Sacred Fire, Flare Blitz. I had this as Bulldoze for a while, and I tried out a few different Z crystals, but decided to go with the Charcoal in the end. And the Flare Blitz, because there wasn't really anything on his team that wanted to take Extreme Speed, Stone Edge, or Sacred Fire compared to a Bulldoze, and there wasn't really a need to slow anything down. So, that extra little bit of power may be a little bit helpful, plus the perfect accuracy and the extra PP has a little benefit to it. So yeah, that's the team. Let's pull up the battle here and take a watch. So as you can see, there's my team on the lower left, and Grape brought his Zapdos. He brought Scyther, most interesting. He does do a good job of every season bringing one of his lower tier mons to our battles. He's much better at that than I am. I tend to rely on my top 3 tiers, and the T4s maybe see it at the end of the season when the playoffs are locked up. But always can switch that up. You never know when that might change. Magearna, Terrakion, threat, melodic, bulky, always bulky, somewhat of a threat. And Delphox, which, is pretty obvious of a bring, because he needs something to at least counter my Venusaur with a little bit. So between that and Scyther, looks like his 2 main checks to it. Magearna can't really do much to me, and I can't really do much to it. So it's kind of a stalemate. Same with Zapdos for the most part. Unless he's running like some Flyinium Z move or something. Or, I guess, Heat Wave would do a little chunk of damage. But not too worried about that. But yeah, both teams are fairly bulky. So this, as you can expect, played out as quite a long battle. I think it's 49 turns in total. So we should probably get into it, because I think it's about 17 minutes long. Anything else I want to say before that? Leads. Oh, here we go. Leads. So I was planning on leading with my Mega Venusaur to get off the Mega Evolution, so I would pick up that Ice and Fire resistance pretty early on. I figured he might lead with Zapdos for a good U-turn, or Volt switch. Volt turn. He's got a good Volt turn combo here, so it could be beneficial for me to get up rocks if there's a lot of switching going on, especially if we get into a pretty kind of stall-y predictive match. Kind of punish those switches a little bit, make him bring in his Zapdos, take the Stealth Rocks, go for Defog. That might allow me to get off a pretty big hit on it, and over time just kind of wear it down. Same with Magearna, we're going to have to wear it down over time. But I think our team is set up pretty well that we'll be able to take this on just fine. Be good to scout a few moves, a few sets. I want to see what the Magearna is and what the Melodic is. See if it's got Magic Coat, because that might be a little bit of a problem with Venusaur. Yeah, so that's enough thoughts. I think those are the main ones. Let's get into the match here. Apologize for the quality. I had to record this on a digital camera since we did it on DS. And I don't have recording software, or capture card. That's what they're called. Anyway, plays out about how I expected the first turn too. He sends up a Bearney, Burby, 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 Burbaderb, And I sent out Buttercup, so bees on bees. Mega Evolve, he stays in. We'll see what he goes for. If it's, Volt Switch or Heat Wave, he goes for a Volt Switch, get some momentum. I think I went for a Sludge Bomb, see if I could get a hit off, see what kind of set this is, if it's any sort of defensive. He goes into Violet here, which is his Magearna. So the threat has arrived right away. This thing doesn't really have a Psychic or Flying type move to hit me with, so we got a Scout. Here I go for Hidden Power, and it does nothing. This is supposed to do 20 to 25% of its Hidden Power Fire. See, that's not very effective. Well, it turns out that it's Hidden Power Grass, as I checked after. So he starts pulling out his Volt Core right here, as he switches out into his Delphox. I have an easy switch into Lady Red here. This thing can carry Shadow Ball or Dazzling Gleam, but I might as well scout for that. I just take the Psychic and eat it up because I have natural bulk and special defense, base 130, and I've got plenty of investment in HP. He switches out straight into Violet here, so already we're playing plenty of mind games with switches here. I called that switch and went for the Psychic, get some chip on this Violet, so that's working out pretty well. As you can see, I didn't calc it, but I figured that was probably Assault Vested, just based on the amount of damage that it did. I know this thing is fairly bulky, but again, probably Assault Vest. This is an interesting play here, as I switch out and he goes for a Hidden Power Ground on a Levitator, which I guess is a good play. There's no reason for me to stay in. I can't hit it at all, as he's probably figured by now. But I outspeed him, and he probably figures that I have Earthquake, so he makes a safe switch into Mia. That allows me to go for my Stealth Rocks. So I figured there's not really anything that he can do to me. Another Hidden Power Ground would hurt, but I would live it, and then I could go for the Earthquake the next turn. Mia just gives me a free switch into Buttercup, because really there's nothing that I can be hit by. Even like an Ice Beam is resisted with Thick Fat now that I have Thick Fat up, but he just Dragon Tails me right up. I go into Lady Red. Here I can just, I guess I decide to switch off instead of fire off a Psychic. Being a safe play, go back into Buttercup instead of taking a Dragon Tail to the face. As he goes out into Violet, and we're kind of right back where we started here. As it's Violet on Buttercup, our two kind of main captains. I don't know if he would consider Violet his captain, but Buttercup's kind of my captain alongside Lady Red. Hand in hand, the two ladies taking on the world. So I just go for Giga Drain, just keep on chipping away at this thing. It doesn't have recovery, he doesn't have Wish on his team, so eventually it's going to go down to something. And this just makes it more and more likely. So he makes it switch out into Burby. Burry. Probably Beery. Pressures me, putting on the pressure, definitely felt in this match. It's the first week, he's a good opponent, so your heart's always racing when you get into the battle and the music starts playing. Blood pressure rises, everything's pumping. He goes for Defog, gets away his rocks. This allows me to just go for a Sludge Bomb. I figured he'd probably want to get those out of the way. And I would really love if I could get a poison on this. We got a 30% chance, so a couple attacks. Hopefully we get that coin flip in there somewhere. He stays in, gets his health back with a Roost. This allows me to, flip that coin again, see if I get a little bit lucky. I guess just roll a dice, because there's not really like a three-sided coin that you can flip. I don't know if there's a three-sided dice. Not really. Anyway, get the poison on that one. So that's going to really help, because it kind of negates this leftovers recovery. And it'll help us just wear this down, especially if we gain its Stealth Rocks up again, which we likely can. Because it's pretty easy to get our Metagross in on something on his team. Even the Magearna, since the Magearna isn't faster. So, speaking of Magearna, he comes out again. Just allows me, I get to synthesis up, get back up to full health. We'll just keep this thing. He doesn't really have anything to hit it. He doesn't seem to be willing to switch in, make a risky switch in yet. He's making pretty safe switches, which is fine with me. It's just letting me wear down his team. So I take a switch out into my Seismitoad here, expecting a flash. I guess not even a flash cannon. Probably a flash cannon over a floor cannon. Or a Volt Switch. Either one of those I eat up with my Assault Vest and the resistance or immunity. He's got to switch out because I'm faster, fearing the Earthquake. Here I believe I do go for the Earthquake. No, I went for the knockoff. Yeah, even better play by me, because knockoff's always good. Get a little rid of the leftovers. Here I switch out into my resistance for this, which would be Latias, I would guess. Buttercup, or just Buttercup. Buttercup's always good. Yeah, since he hasn't shown Heat Wave, we've seen Roost, Decafog, Volt Switch. I think that's all that we've seen. I know what his last move is, but I don't think we see it in this match. His last move is Hidden Power Grass, which is interesting. He didn't go for it there. But he volt switches out. I think I predicted this and probably went for the Giga Drain, since he's shown he can't really do anything to me. Now it's Sludge Bomb. So I do go for Sludge Bomb, which is a better play, a much better play. So I get to hit this nice and hard with a modest Sludge Bomb. Switch out and go right back into Lady Red. These two are just going to face off. He hasn't shown me that he can hit me too hard yet. He goes for the Psychic again. He knows he has to get rid of Buttercup. But I can just keep making these easy switches. He's playing nice and easy, nice and safe, which is allowing me to play nice and safe and kind of wear his team down. It's really kind of working out in my favor at this point. But, you never know how it's going to end up. I get a special defense drop. He could have stayed in and Dazzling Gleam there and probably taken me out, which would have been a pretty big play, but nothing too major, I guess. But I can get a Roost off here, kind of see what he's going to go for. If he's going to Dragon Tail me out, probably be at a little bit more health. He goes for the Scald, which is okay with me. I'm going to eat that up. Don't get burned on the first. No, I do get burned on the first one. I know I got burned at some point. I think next he's going to cool off my burn with a nice Ice Beam as I go for just a simple Psychic. I thought about trying to set up a Calm Mind here, but kind of went against that. Nah, just switch out. Safe play. Just go into Buttercup. I play much better during the game than I do watching it back, as you can see. So I eat up that Ice Beam. Super effective, but Thick Fat negates that. I can just keep chipping away at his team with Giga Drains or Sludge Bombs, I think. Nashi. There we go. So yeah, here he goes into his Scyther as I Giga Drain. That actually does a pretty fair amount. Oh, it's a crit. Just forgot that crit. That does quite a bit of damage for being quad resisted, but that makes more sense. So at this point I don't know if he's Eviolite or what, but I figure he's probably Eviolite. So I can just go into Gladys here and eat up pretty much any hit that he wants to go for. Just my basic, incredibly bulky steel typeness. But here I can just freely go for my Stealth Rocks again as he switches into Mia, because he can't really touch me, it seems. I guess the thing he could touch me with most was like a Pursuit or Brick Break. Maybe, I guess Bug Bite would probably do a little bit more. But he just switches out. Doesn't even U-turn there, which is interesting. But we'll see why later on. Out comes Mia, straight into Buttercup. Goes for Ice Beam. I take some damage. Rinse, repeat. It's just kind of how this battle is going. Buttercup is a beast. He hasn't made the play yet to take it out, so that's been pretty good for me anyway. He goes into Violet, lets me get a little bit more chip on this as it takes Stealth Rock damage. Obviously it's resisted. I can go for a Synthesis. Get up to full. I'll take a hit here, but chip away a little bit more with some Giga Drain. It's weird seeing Venusaur outspeed stuff. That does a good, solid 15-20%, which is pretty nice. Flash Cannon, yeah, it hurts, but it's not killer. Here I can just make a switch back into my Seismitoad, and I'll easily eat up that Flash Cannon with my Assault Vest. We see it's only doing like 10%, 20%. What are we at? Maybe 30, so probably 15%. We have plenty of health. We don't really have anything that's going to take us out from that. He goes into Airbnb. I'm going to call you Airbnb. Beery. Airbnb. And between Poison and Stealth Rock, we can now pick him off with an Ice Punch. Here, let's just take a second because there's a little bit of a fun mind game that can go on here. So he's got three options. He can Hidden Power Grass, he can Defog, or he can Roost. So on the Roost, if I Ice Punch, he gets up to enough health that he wouldn't be taken out by another Ice Punch and could then HP Grass or Defog me. Whereas if he HP grasses, I live, and if he defogs, I obviously live, and I can KO him in both of those situations with an Ice Punch. I figured that he would probably prioritize getting rid of the rocks at this point, and so I just decided to go for the Ice Punch over the Earthquake because there's a 2 out of 3 chance that that's going to be the better play. Whereas in his case, Roost is probably the better play. And so as we see here, he does go for the Defog, as I know that I need to take this out so I can get rocks on his side, and so I make the play of going for the Ice Punch, which KOs him. Seismitoad, you are quite beastly, so I'm very impressed with how you're performing in this match. That natural bulk and attack is really coming in clutch for tier 3. He goes out into Coco, so obviously there's like a grass knot coming, I would expect, so I can make the switch into Lady Red. Here he goes for Solar Beam, which is, this is always a fun set, the white herb, what is it? Power Herb, Solar Beam Magician. And so this makes me chuckle a little bit because, I'm holding the Soul Dew, so he's going to take that away from me, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it doesn't help him out at all. At least as far as I know, it only is effective for Latios and Latias. It'd be kind of cool if it powered up his Psychic types attacks as well. I go for a Psychic here. We're just going to keep chipping away. If he wants to bring in Makirna, go for it. I take a Dazzling Gleam to the face, but live it fairly comfortably, actually. That natural bulk is coming in clutch. I'm not going to be able to stall him out because of my burn, but he makes a switch into Makirna here, which is really smart because obviously he knows that Dragon Pulse is going to take him out, and it's probably my best play. So I make that switch, but then I can just go for a Psychic after that, chip it away, as Makirna here goes for Hidden Power, which doesn't affect me due to Levitate, but I still go down to the burn. And this is interesting. I guess it makes sense with how it's worded, but I didn't really think of it at the time. But Soul Heart activates because I go down. It's not that you need to have the kill like Moxie. It's whenever an opponent faints, which is really powerful. But now that Biribiri is gone, I can freely go for Earthquakes, and the rest of his team doesn't really appreciate it. And Scyther doesn't really want to switch in on a Metagross because there's nothing, as we saw, that he could really do to it. So that just lets me finally take down this Makirna, and we're pretty much all in on his team now. Yeah, the 2 biggest threats are down. The rest of his team, my team matches up very well with. I think we're sitting at 6-4. I don't think anything on my side's gone down yet, has it? No, not yet. We're sitting at 6-4. I can switch in the Entei on the predicted fire attack. And here I can just go for a Sacred Fire, expecting him to switch out. And even Sacred Fire is going to 2-hit KO. Excuse me. Wow. It's been a long day, I guess. I get the burn, so it's another coin flip that went in my favor. At least that one's just a 50-50. Before it was 2 Sludge Bombs to get the poison, so not too bad. He goes for Stealth Rocks here, as I don't have really anything that wants to switch into a Terrakion, so I take a chance at trying to take him out with a Flare Blitz. Powered, Adamant, charcoal backed, and between that damage and the burn, I'm able to then take him off with an extreme speed. So not being banded kind of coming in clutch here. Banded Sacred Fire probably would have 2-hit KO'd him, I would guess. But hey, this was kind of fun, and it worked out to the same regard. I guess it probably took a little bit more damage than I would have before, but this allows me to go for a Stone Edge here, but I missed my first Stone Edge of this season, so hey, that's looking good. Maybe that'll come back later on as a hit. We didn't need it here, so that's kind of nice. Gladys is dragged out. This gives me a free setup of Stealth Rocks, because there's nothing he can really do to me. He can Scald. That's going to hurt. Could probably get the burn, but I don't really need Gladys anymore. The priority is always nice to have, but really everything that I can beat is gone. Now that Magirna and Terrakion are down. So I'm just gonna, get a little bit of chip and the free switch, as I don't want to switch in something on an ice beam because Melodic has a little bit of natural attack behind it, natural special attack. So they're chipping in. We see leftovers. I think we've seen his whole moveset now. Recover, Ice Beam, Scald, Dragon Tail. So no, this is cool. We lived on one. It's the first time living on one of this season. No freezes, which is nice, but I've been burned for a while. Anyway, no Mirror Coat. Yes, no Mirror Coat, which means that Venusaur is pretty easy, free and easy switch in here. Take some pointed Soden damage. Go for the Giga Drain. If he wants to switch into his Scyther, it's going to be taking 50% from the rocks. And even Ako is going to be taking 50%, just barely lives. And that allows Buttercup to get the first KO, or her first KO of the season. Now the clear switch in is going to be Scyther now at this point. So here it comes, taking 50%. And I can just switch into my defensive Seismitoad here. There's nothing he's going to be able to do to it. We're sitting at a nice 4-2 with a pretty clear path to victory at this point. So switch in, pray for not getting crits, take an Aerial Ace, eat it up, no problem. A little bit of a problem, almost a 2-hit KO. This thing is a good bit of attack behind it. I just go for the knockoff to see what it's got on it, and that'll allow E-Speed to kill no matter what later on, and he can't switch out because he can't get rid of rocks. He's going to go down if he comes back in. Choice Scarf, so there we finally see the item. Very interesting. So it now shows us why he was locked into Aerial Ace. Kind of unfortunate that that's his strongest attack. Here I just go for the knockoff to get rid of the items, expecting a Dragon Tail or Ice Beam. So he just takes me out. Pretty interesting there that I outspeed him, seeing that I was base 74 with no investment. So kind of wondering what he was running on his Melodic, since he didn't go for Dragon Tail there. And same Buttercup also at speeds. And that's a good game as we're able to take it down, the Melodic, with a pair of Giga Drains, and hope that we don't get frozen here. Either way, we would have won eventually, with Tornadus, who didn't even hit the field in this match. So a Regenerator Tornadus that never even touched the battlefield. So yeah, I guess that's a good match if that doesn't happen. But yeah, good game, Grape. Nice way, kick off our traditional Season 1 foe, Season 1 Week 1 foe battles. Battle companions, not companions, rivals. There we go, that's a better word. Battle companions. Nice and friendly. But yeah, that's that. We ended up with a 3-0 victory with Tornadus, Entei, and Buttercup still left on our side. And that sets us off on a pretty good foot, with a decent differential to start. Team played really well, a lot better than I imagined. Nice and bulky. I kind of missed that after last season. I had to play a little bit more offensively every week, even bringing some that you could almost call hyper offense, but this team's not going to be bringing too much hyper offense. But you never know. It's got enough in there that we can switch it up if we need to. No Z-move user on my side, which is kind of a disappointment for me. But, maybe one of these weeks we'll bring something. We've got options anyway. Yeah, so good game to Grape. I suppose if you've made it this long, thanks for watching. I think I'm going to cut it here. And hopefully I'll bring you more videos in the future, but I wanted people to be able to at least see this one since we played it on the DS and the league wasn't able to watch it live. At least you can get my post-com. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it comes out in decent enough quality. Apologize again for that. And yeah, that is Joseph, your coach of the Eon Twins, signing off. So later days.